have some real practical use cases and some demos from Tejit Mittal, and he's our product management guy.
Thank you for taking the time out and listening to us. I'm very excited to be here today and very excited to be at the cusp of this technological change that's coming to us and making that charter at Zycus where we can leverage this technology to bring value to every one of you. I'm even more excited to talk about the Merlin intake and Agentic AI in action today. It will be very less slides and a lot of product demonstration, I can promise you that. But I would want to take up from where Atish left, is the place where we are going with AI is the one that brings value and a very deep value to all our customers. So let me start off by moving to the next slide and just a couple of them. So the first focus that we always have at Zycus is the users that are going to use the system. Atish spoke briefly about this slide, but I'll just deep dive into a bit what are AI agents and the data models, and we had a good set of questions about what data can be used, leveraged to take this up. It broadly falls into two categories. One is the business user who comes to the system once a week, once a month, very infrequent user, and we really do not find it very rewarding to train them on the policies, on the processes. They need a very conversational, intuitive, and guidance-driven interface that can take them through the process. The learning curve is very, very non-rewarding. So how do we make sure that the users come into the system, they get what they need, and they don't have to fill forms or enter countless questions or answer countless questions? And on the other hand, we have the procurement teams who we can empower with the Agentic AI, making sure that they are optimized, efficient, and the humans remain in loop and in control. So that's essentially the premise of how we look at various set of agents and which users are going to leverage them in that perspective. Now, Merlin intake we spoke about. This is where the front door happens or opens up to the entire business user persona. It's conversational, and the AI agents ensure that it's very, very compliant. So what I'm going to do after this is I'm going to shift to a product demonstration and show you where the magic happens. This is our hosted setup on MS Teams and getting more and more omni-channel. So various avenues are opening up where you can access this. It's mobile friendly and takes you there. So as I promised, without taking more than a couple of minutes, I'm going to take everyone through here a demonstration of Merlin Assist. So this is the homepage. This is where Merlin Assist lands. And I'll take a minute to warm everyone up about what this is. This is straight away conversational and asks you what I can help you with today. You'll see the immediate actions that the user can take or needs to take to free up their mental cognitive load. You don't need to remember that you need to approve this particular requisition or follow up on this particular invoice. It's right there in front of you when you log in. And it's in Teams, single sign-on, so you don't need to fire up a browser, type in the link, and then forgot password and remember password. You're directly opened up with the place where you need to work upon and close out your pending things. You have notifications, all the things that are very well available here. Now, what you need to do, let's say there is a requisition that is pending in approval, you can view details on it, or if you know about this, you have in principle in your mind already approved it, you just say here, say okay, and you're done. You have successfully approved the requisition. So that's the zero-click value. That's the value that comes to the users without getting cognitively loaded with any other information. It's right there. Now let's look at an example where we want more details. And we come in here, we see the higher level of details. We want even more details to look at what this requisition is all about. And you get each and every detail of this particular item right there, where this is in the flow, and you can approve it as well. A quick check, is this visible to the audience sitting at the last, or readable, or maybe I can increase it a bit. Okay, so this is the value of Merlin intake that handles or lands directly into the system. Now, let's get things a bit more exciting, and let me actually zoom in a bit. Yeah, let's get this to a bit better view. I hope this is better. So, a case where a user comes in and says, there's a need to purchase something. And all this is, I want to buy some safety shoes. Now, what is happening? I think we were discussing about Agentic and how the system guides. What is happening in the background is the system understands what the user is saying. It then identifies it's a goods which needs to be procured, probably by the name of safety shoes. Then it runs in the system and says, is this detail sufficient to help them get to a purchase? And it says, let's try and find out what size of safety shoes do you need. So it's eliciting these requirements, the needs out of the user, so that it can find a better match based on the policy. So that's the first set of agent that's working in the background. You won't even see it here, but it's asking you what is it that you are looking for. Give us some more detail so that I can better assist you. So I say leather, and let's say if it asks for some more things, because safety is a nuanced thing. So, okay, it is asking if you need some steel toe. So I want a steel toe and also a slip resistant one. So now it has gathered enough details. It might ask a question more or less, because none of this is configured in the system. It's the agent trying to find out what is it that you are trying to purchase. And it is identified that this is your requirement summary. It's a safety shoe size 10 made of leather, and I can just confirm it. Now, all configurable. You can have all of this, less of this, more of this based on your organizational needs. This goes into the system and it says, okay, I will now go in the background and identify what policy has been configured for this organization, for this business unit, and maybe at times for a category or a user. So it says that it is recommended to purchase from suppliers that are cataloged with us. And you know what, you don't need to go to any other place. I've also found out these recommendations based on what you were looking for. At this stage, I can just, so I need a steel toe one, I like this one, I add this to cart. And this is submitted, the item has been successfully added to cart. I see that cart here, or I can add more items in this same flow. Again, I don't need to go anywhere else. The cart opens up, I can simply press checkout. I did not press it, I will press it now. Yeah, so now it opens up the entire form, which is all pre-filled. So my business unit, buying unit, purchase type, the delivery locations based on my purchase patterns that were previously there with the item that I just selected, and I'm done. So starting from a request that said buy safety shoes, we were able to submit a compliant request that is purchased from a catalog, probably the best negotiated prices, with zero intervention from the procurement team guiding any user of what they should be doing on this, not asking them questions, and the purchase requisition is submitted and the user is done under a minute. So that's one of the very basic use cases that starts off, helps the business users not get embroiled into the policies or complicated purchase decisions, but just conversationally ask what you are trying to look for, ask questions, and then let's submit that for you. Now, this also is out of my mental cognitive load. I don't need to remember that I submitted a requisition or a request. I can just ask where it is stuck, or who needs to approve it, or has it been delivered yet. All within this portal. So let's take a bit of an interesting example further than this. Yeah. Sorry, I'm struggling a bit about the two screens. Generally, the two screens are in front of me. But let's look at what was the total category-wise spend for 2024. So we want to understand from the system, what really we were spending on. Now, this essentially would have taken us to a reporting system, then identified various reports that were either templatized, but how we can conversationally get these insights, and this is what it comes. It finds out all the categories based on the spend that has happened, so this is the Agentic AI about what these insights can mean, and are there any predictions we can do based on those. But very simply put, you can change various items, you can get in different visualizations, and then it says, these are the findings that we have, that intercompany transfers at the highest spend, whatnot on the category, and then you can ask questions on this. So, and all this is configured on top of our data or the customer's data. The data is not used to train the core models. It does not go out of the system. I think there was a question earlier on this, and I'm happy to answer more later as well. But what you see here is AI generated questions that come in. So let's say the question was category-wise spend, but how does it compare to the last year? What all has happened in the last year, and how has it changed our spending patterns? Are we doing more or less in a particular category? And we can then compare it to what is being asked, or what is being the key driving KPI or the objective of the organization. So the various details pop up on this, and it comes up. So let me change the view a bit. Yeah, so the intercompany transfers, they saw a significant increase from 6 million to 135 million, and that probably drove majority of the spend that went in. Other than that, there was a variation, but that variation could have been due to smaller factors as well. So without going into any reporting setup, without asking an intern to help us build these reports or do this analysis for us, the AI agents in the background bring that about and help you with these details with few prompts or commands right there in MS Teams. So that's the value of insights that comes right at your fingertips. Again, I'll not go that deeper into this use case, but we are happy. I think we have demo pods also set up. Happy to answer more and more questions as they come up, but did want to give a glimpse that goes about on this. Now, let's say some other teams are also using the intake. Let's say a legal team, and one of the most frequent requests that go to the team is, can I get an NDA for this supplier, or are there NDAs existing? And those generally come as cryptic requests. So let's try and say, tell the system, we want to create an NDA. Okay, I typed NDS. I don't know if it's going to correct it, but let's wait for it. So the idea is, so this took it up. Let me just correct this once. Let's take this one. So now NDA, it's going to ask and understand that this is going to be a non-disclosure agreement with a supplier. So it's asking, what is the name of the supplier? Now, once it does that, again the agents go in the background and not just start with the process of creating an NDA right away, but to check in the system whether those NDAs exist or not. And Amazon is an existing supplier, it's operational. And you have two NDAs, one for Mexico, one for US, that are operational. And I personally struggled with a similar query last year. We were trying to get a supplier, NDA, one of the largest software manufacturers, but we already had an NDA, multi-year with them. And the user is done. The user came with an intent to create an NDA, and they have a synopsis. They don't have access to these NDAs, hence only the basic details is shown, and also this is configurable. So this can be hidden, and we can eventually show the name of the person who owns these NDAs, and account is shown, or more details if you have access to it. So again, all this is access controlled. If the user does not have access to that document in the core product, they will not be able to access it here. So that security protocol is all in place, and the user is done. They came looking for an NDA, and they came with an intent to create an NDA, but they found it. Let's see if we get a supplier which is non-operational, how easy or fast it is to create an NDA for them. So I think the user is gonna get asked about what's the name. So let me say, now this supplier is not onboarded or not operational. So there is a process to be followed, and it is going to go into that process and say what's going to happen on this. The user does not need to know, and no further question will be asked, or no additional question will be asked that is out of context. So only the relevant questions are being asked. The form is done, it's pre-filled, and you get the request for non-disclosure agreement for HK Engineering. All the informations are filled up with the supplier name, and all you need to do is look at the request and submit it. And it's done. So, and again, it's something that you can very easily track across all the documents or all the activities that you've been doing. Okay, so next let's move at a bit more complicated case of the guidance for the user. So let's say we want to purchase a CCTV camera. Now again, it's a very generic input. The system is going to try to get more details about what is it that we are trying to purchase, thereby saving critical time that goes in between the procurement team and users, often in an asynchronous mode. So an email comes to purchase CCTV cameras, and there will be multiple to's and fro's to get details about this. So it's asking about what details we are looking for. So let's say I want a 4K camera that is outdoor. I need it for a warehouse to get that security. It's going to understand these requirements. Again, the agent is the elicitation setup, and it's going to understand those requirements. The model, so let's say I don't know the model, but let's say MI brand, any model. So now this is the requirement summary that we landed up with. The system then starts going back into the policy and says that the catalog recommendations that we can refer for you, how you can simply go ahead and purchase it. Now I see some options, but most of them are internal cameras. These are the best matches for these requirements. We really don't want them. So let's complicate things a bit. We want to order free text, and this starts getting expensive now because free text is not negotiated. The procurement team will have to put in a lot of time. Then it did not ask this question here, but you can see we could not find the exact match for the supplier name. The policy said that go and find out a supplier name from the user. It understood MI as a supplier name, which is also a brand, and it said, we could not find MI. So what do you want to do? And I don't have any other supplier other than these two. So we don't want to use these suppliers. It will see if we have the contract value next. So none of these questions were asked earlier when we're doing catalog purchases. These will only come when context and the inputs from the user warrant it. So the user does not get overwhelmed, and these questions are asked only when they're needed. The user says that since it's a less than 1 million euro request, you will have to get a contract done first, and then the important part is there will be a third-party risk management form, and only then you can create a PR or a purchase request. So if you're buying something that is cataloged, the first 2 steps are skipped. You don't even need to know about them. But if your value is falling in a particular process and it's not a supplier that's onboarded, this is the process that you'll need to go through. And what we will do is we will enable you to pre-fill the first step. We will build up all the contract request details that are needed, get you the templates, pre-fill them for you, and you can approve it. Once that step is done in the due course of time with the right team, which is going to create a contract request and get a contract with the suppliers, I am going to get a notification in my Teams saying that that has been done. And you can go on for the next step of the purchase. So that's how the continuity or the depth of the system goes on. You don't need to remember which request did you submit, and you don't need to remember or ask multiple people where it is right now, and do you need to remind someone. So here is that request that is set up for security surveillance and detection. The category got pre-filled and the request is submitted. So that's the preview of how agents or the agentic AI is enabling intake, which is making sure that the user gets the right context and is able to get their requests solved easily and in an intuitive way. So let's go back. Now let's make things a bit more interesting and see the value of how negotiation adds value to it. So I'll showcase a case which is based on what Aatish said about the tail spend. So how can we negotiate autonomously on tail spend? And I'm told that there are 5 minutes remaining, so I'll get right to that case. Thanks for that. Let's say we are trying to hire cleaning services. So it again understands the requirement from the user, and let me do that. I think I missed this setup, but yeah, sorry, I clicked on the previous request, but we are saying that we are trying to get cleaning services set up in the system. We are going to get asked the relevant questions. Again, what kind of cleaning services? So it's a commercial office. And we want it weekly. So it's going to understand, because if we send out an RFQ, let's say, to the market that says need cleaning services, it is very, very difficult for any supplier to quote or to give a price estimate for them. So the system is asking these questions on procurement's behalf, and any special requirements, it needs to be deep cleaning for office interiors. Once the first set of requirements are understood from the agent, then the system is going to take this to the next level and say that I have understood the requirements that are there in the system. Let's take what's next, and it will get the catalog items. And my bad, so I'm getting a bit of a Murphy's law at this stage. Yeah, so the catalog recommendations probably do not fit, into this setup. So I'm going to order something that's non-catalog or that's free text. And I'm also not sure on the suppliers. So at this stage, when we have gotten a category that's cleaning services, and we are not looking for any existing suppliers or the catalog item. We are going to take the next route, and for this category, the limits that are configured is for 25,000 lesser or greater, and this is where we set it up. So the system recommends that since it's a non-catalog purchase, we have filled up, and you can go to an autonomous sourcing event to take this up. I will just add basic details to this, and a lump sum setup. For a service. Now this is where the intake business user aspect ends, and this is going to get transformed to the procurement teams for autonomous sourcing. And generally this request lands, I think this opened in this window, so let me bring it here. So I think we are over time on this, and I'm more than happy to demonstrate, because this is going to take around 7 to 8 minutes. So I'm more than happy to demonstrate this setup on this, but I would like to take any questions that are there at this point and meet us on the demo pods where I would love to show you the autonomous negotiation agents. So I'll still give a summary of what we are doing here. At this point of time, when it says proceed to autonomous sourcing, the system will gather these requests and take them to a procurement team. Now what a procurement team will do generally, it will take up this request, build a very small RFI out of it, and send it to various suppliers. Now it will still need to find out suppliers that are going to be able to cater to these requests, and post that they will be reminded to put up bids to be submitted in the system, and once that is done, they will negotiate, and a lot of times in tailspin the negotiation doesn't happen. Now this entire process, this complicated or tedious process, let's say, imagine if a system, an agent, the agentic flow that Adarsh talked about, takes this request, gets into the market, negotiates on your behalf with the right suppliers after getting bids from them, and gives you negotiated quotes in 7 days. And you just have to select one of those best quotes and award that to the supplier. So that's where it takes away all the tedious aspect of this execution and frees up the procurement teams for the strategic tasks that they can focus on. I would love to demo that to you, but I'm happy to take any questions. I think we've ran out of time.
Thank you, Tejit.